Yeah. And 12.
It's a scale.
Okay.
So it weighs how much grain we have here, and that's determined according to the recipe for each beer that we have. We have approximately about 70 recipes.
Suurem kui teie keldri.
I brew beer as well.
You do?
At home, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What style of beers?
Right now we started in November, so we have done like 2 IPAs and 2 pale ales, one like dry Irish stout. So we have already done quite well.
So you enjoy craft beers?
Yeah, because I brew them myself.
So this is our 30-barrel brew house. Once we measure the amount of grain,
Yeah.
we move all the grain already cracked into the mash tun.
Yeah.
You see the metal grates in it. We incorporate the hot liquid tank with the grains that we have in here. That's already exposed to starch, and as it revolves, turns to starch, hot water grain into sugars,
Yeah.
which creates the wort.
Yeah.
So in here, once we complete for about an hour, roughly.
Yeah, it depends on the style.
Exactly.
Some beers take longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We start doing it's called the Vorloff method, which
Yeah.
is circulating the wort into the wort grant
Yep.
to clarify
Yeah.
the beer itself to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So it continues on rotating until that the desired clarity. Once that's done, then we start moving the wort into our kettle.
Yep.
The kettle will then heat up to 212 degrees, which is boiling point, for about 60 minutes. And depending upon the beer, if it's an IPA, then we incorporate the hops, boil, some more hops,
Yeah.
boil, finish off with more hops
Yeah.
to give the hopier flavor.
Do you use Irish moss as well?
Irish moss, I'm not quite sure. I haven't gotten exposed to all 70 of the recipes that they have here.
The Irish moss is used for clarifying the beer also, but I don't think people use it like if you brew. How many liters? Do you know how many liters do you brew at the time? How big is the?
It's a 30-barrel brew house. As far as how many liters, I'm not quite sure, but I also believe it's also according to what they're brewing. If they're brewing their flagship beers, it's going to be a bigger brew, because as you can see, we have
You have this
large 120 fermentation tanks.
Yeah.
Aga nad pudelitesse ei
But
pane.
if they're doing smaller brews,
Panevad
like the
ikka.
specialty beers, we do them in smaller,
Yeah, smaller. Yeah.
smaller
Yeah.
fermentation tanks.
And this one is for recipes. I understand. This is we try to recreate the similar system
Yeah.
at our home.
Yeah.
So this is real home.
I think this is
brew,
how
yeah.
they started. They
Yeah.
were doing this at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
yeah. Awesome.
So once we have the boiling point up into 60 minutes, then we move it into our whirlpool.
Yeah.
The whirlpool has jets on the sides, so it keeps pushing the water, the
Yeah.
wort, to spinning.
Yeah.
So that all the hops get settled in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we dispose of the hops into the drain. The wort itself gets cooled into our heat exchange, where the cold liquid tank will send cold water into one pipe,
Yeah.
and the warm wort on the other pipe.
Yeah.
And it cools to a certain degree, depending upon also whatever style of beer.
Jahuti. We use this spiral. It made from this copper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sort of like a cooling element.
Yeah, cooling element, like a copper spiral.
Okay.
And we just take the water, run it through the copper spiral, and we have 70 liter. I think it's maybe 5 gallon.
Okay.
Or 10 gallon tank.
Uh-huh.
We put the spiral in, the copper spiral, and then we run cold water through the spiral, and actually it takes like 20 minutes to get it cooled.
Yeah, that's all it is. All
Yeah.
you're doing is just touching the cold with the warm. You're not exposing any of the wort with more
Yeah,
water,
yeah,
because you don't want to dilute it. So once we have the appropriate temperature, then we send it off and pitch it into, correction, not pitch it, we send it off to the fermentation tanks, starting with the one all the way at the end.
Yeah.
This is where we pitch the yeast. Once we put the yeast in there, it takes roughly about 2 weeks for the yeast to consume the sugars in the wort, creating alcohol. But it also it creates an environment where the yeast itself will quadruple.
Yeah.
So being that the yeast will be too much in here, we then move it into the next fermentation tank.
Yeah.
So that they can continue on growing within the 2 weeks.
This is
Oh,
all
okay.
empty now, eh?
That's correct. This one isn't empty. This one is actually, as you can see, yeast is in there producing CO2. So this is all the air that's getting pushed out. And this is Beach Blonde Ale.
Yeah, this one.
Yep.
Awesome.
So once the yeast is done consuming all the sugars to an appropriate amount of alcohol, and they measure that using the hydrometer, where sweet, or the wort, sweet